Today is the 8th of January 2014. My name is Ben Fielden and this interview is for Ming-ai London Institute, British Chinese Workforce Heritage Project. Could I begin by asking your name?
Edith Lau.
And can you spell that for me?
Edith Lau, surname.
And where were you born?
Hong Kong.
Could you tell me a little bit about your family?
My family. I got two sisters, younger sister and two younger brothers. And they are both in Hong Kong, all in Hong Kong. Yeah.
And whereabouts are you in that order?
In the order, you mean? I'm the eldest.
Yeah. And what work did your mother and father do?
Pardon?
What work did your mother and father do?
Oh, my mother passed away. My father retired. Yeah.
But when they were working, what did they?
We operate at the shop in Hong Kong.
And what education did you have?
I've been training to be a teacher, the primary school teacher, and yeah, in Hong Kong, yeah, and study in further education in New Zealand, yeah, and here now I study theology.
Okay. Whereabouts do you study? Where do you study theology?
Just prepare myself to equip myself, see what I can do in the future. Yeah.
So what led you to come to the UK?
Because my husband worked here, so we moved, the whole family, we have to move here. Yeah.
So where did you meet your husband then? Whereabouts did you meet your husband?
In Hong Kong.
So you went to New Zealand with your husband as well?
Yes.
And before the job at the community centre, have you had any other jobs?
I worked in Hong Kong as primary kindergarten teacher and teaching and taught in primary school. And then when we moved to New Zealand, and I worked in the factory.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and then moved here. I work here.
So what was it that led you to come and work in the church?
Oh, my belief, I think, yeah. So that's why, and also I have to help my husband because he's a pastor. So.
And how long have you been in the church for?
Oh, I think more than 30 years.
Okay. And this job specifically at the community centre?
12 years.
And can you tell anything about the history of St Martin's in the Field Church that you might know about?
I think I know the spirit, yes. I mean, they help the homeless people, help those people who are in need. Yeah, I think it's their mission statement. And this church is Anglican church. Most of the service is quite traditional and follow the tradition of Church of England. Yeah.
And what kind of people do you find coming to the church mostly?
I think because it's the church based on in central London, so all sorts of including the visitors from overseas or different areas, and I think it's quite international from different countries, and this church is quite inclusive. So I think from different resources all come to this church. Yeah.
With the services, you said that it helps homeless people. Do you know how it's able to provide those services?
I think each year they fundraising for them, what they call Christmas appeal. So they fundraise to help the homeless people. That's why they got what they call the connection, the department of connection to help the aim for helping the homeless people. Yeah.
And what is the role of Christians working in the Chinese community in London, do you think?
We evangelize, spread the good news, and help the people who are needed.
And can you tell us anything about the history of the Chinese congregation at this church?
I think when they first set up is from what they count at that time is not the reference. Mr. Lee, Siu Ying, and Bishop Hall assigned him to come to this country to help the Chinese, because at that time I think from 1960 lots Hong Kong people moved to this country and they don't speak any English, and Bishop Hall recognized those needs, and so he asked Mr. Lee to come, and Mr. Lee later on become the reverend, what we call a pastor. So he tried to have the translation and help those help those Chinese who can't speak English. So I think that is the background of this church, and anyone for Reverend Lee to help, who will ask them to come to the church. That's why they set up the Chinese service. Yeah.
And how many people visiting the church are Chinese speakers today?
Including the Mandarin speaking, more than 100 people. Yeah.
And what is the mix between Cantonese and Mandarin?
You mean what is the mix?
For example, are there more Cantonese people who come, or?
You know, this church originally, when they set up, is Cantonese speaking. So that's why majority are Cantonese, but Cantonese speaking. But now one third of are Mandarin. Yeah.
Okay. And have there been any significant events whilst you've been at the church?
Significant event, you mean?
Anything that is particularly notable that happened here?
You mean the church, or?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. I mean,
any major visits?
I'm not quite sure.
Any big events that the church might have held?
I think this year we will 50 years. So I think the coming several months we will prepare this big event. Yeah.
And does the church play any role in the Chinese New Year celebrations?
Yeah, of course. We will every year. We try to, because there's a parade in Trafalgar Square and Chinatown. So we will distribute the leaflet to introduce our church, to let more people to know our church. Yeah.
And is that targeted at Chinese people specifically, or just everybody who's there?
I think that mainly the target group are Chinese.
I'm just going to go on to talk a little bit more about the community centre now. So can you explain the relationship between the church and the Bishop Ho Community Centre?
As that when the church, how they set out, Reverend Lee to do something like the social service. When he retired, he what he saw, the needs, still there's the needs. So he tried to fundraise from Hong Kong to set up what we call the Chinese Center. At the time we called Chinese Center, but nowadays we changed to community center because we open to everybody. So that's the history, the link between the church and the center. So later on, we asked the site, any space we can use in St. Martin. So they allow us to use this crypt, the space here. So 29 years ago, we set up this center. And lots of donors are from the Chinese congregation. They help to set up this service. They donate lots, including money and lots of furniture and everything. So later on, we got our administration. So we still got the link. We will, in our council, we have the invite participant is from one of the representative is from the Chinese church. So I think that's the link. And nowadays we try to set up some project, work together, something like the preventing project. We will invite the Chinese congregation to be our volunteers, or they will be one of our clients to be for us to visit. So I think that's the link. And we usually Monday to Friday is centers activities, but during weekend the Chinese church will use this space. So Sunday afternoon they mainly use this space. Yeah.
So when this centre was first set up, it was one of the first Chinese centres in London.
I think we are not the first one, is it? I think
one
of them is a bit quite old.
Yeah. So as more community centres, Chinese community centres have opened across London, has the role of the centre changed at all?
We try to. I think we still keep some services as before, but nowadays what we think more community centres. So lots of challenges. So we try to explore some new services, and for the or what we call the services for the members, for the Chinese, or nowadays not only Chinese, for the Western people, or for the people who live in this country. Yeah.
And what is your working role within the centre?
What we call the post is centre co-ordinator. So that means I coordinate all the activities in this centre, including activities, like Tai Chi classes, language classes, and outings and luncheon club. Yeah.
And how many staff and volunteers does the centre have?
We only got one full-time staff, that means me, and one part-time staff. What we call two part-time staff. One is mainly for do the administrative work, and the other one is our chef to produce the lunch. And we mainly rely on the volunteers, more than 20 volunteers, something like the project and preventing projects, and we have to serve lunch. We rely on our volunteers, and some like bookkeeping, we rely on the volunteer.
How many users does the centre have?
How many users? We got more than 700 people to register, has been registered in our centre. But we can say about more than half of them, more than 300 people, use our services. A bit what we call active members.
And how many of these are you aware that are Christian?
I can't say. Around 300 of them are more than 300 of them, maybe 100, 1/3. Yeah, most of them, the Chinese, especially the elderly, they are Buddhist. Yeah.
And can you tell us how the centre is funded?
We try to apply. We apply different funding, even the small grants. But I think, as you know, nowadays it's not easy to ask the fundings. Our incomes from two resources, funding and the donors from the donors. So we sort of lucky we got some big donors, from Hong Kong. So we can't say our funding. I mean, how to say, our income is so ideal, but still okay. I mean, at least up to this year. This year our budget only up to 70%. So we still got 30% to struggle for our income. Yeah.
And you think it's gotten notably harder since the funding cuts in local governments?
Yeah, it's so hard. It's really hard, what I feel. And lots our application turned down. So sometimes a bit discouraged.
And how much of your time is taken up by trying to get funding for the centre?
I'm not doing this part. Mainly do this part. Our chair and chancellor, and we got the what we call is financial committee. So they focus on this kind of job to apply the funding. Yeah, I try to set up some fundraising event, something like the lunch. Maybe we go out to have lunch in the restaurant, or just Monday. On this week we finished the special vegetarian lunch as our fundraising event, one of our fundraising events. Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the board?
Our council, what we call the council members, they are quite mixed from nearly half from Western people, and half is are Chinese, and most of them relate to the church, or we call that's the link with St. Martin, like our the Vicar. He is our one of our council member, and some council members, what we call the Western people, they have been worked in Hong Kong. That's why they know a bit about Chinese. So this council is a bit mixed. Yeah.
Okay. And you said obviously the centre's based in a church, and many of the boards are from the church. How do you find that the centre is influenced by the church and by, for example, your faith?
We won't. We won't tell them. I think our members, when they come to this centre, because we are based in this in the church, so some of them will think, oh, you got religious, but as a centre, we provide the service. We not promote. We not just push people, force people to have that kind of belief, but through our job, through our work, they feel. We hope them they feel God's love. That's enough. And if they have then any needs, they will come to ask you. Regarding our religious, something like one of our, for example, one of our member, her husband passed away, and she didn't know how to organize a funeral, so she will come to ask us, and then I will refer her to Reverend Lau. That's sort of even she's not a Christian, but we still can help with no matter what kind of belief they got, Yeah.
And can you tell us anything about the services that the centre provides?
The regular service in this, the centre, we got the Tai Chi classes and lunches, lunch and Mandarin class and English class, line dance, and Chinese painting class. And on top, we got the project is befriending project. And in the future, the coming one, we will set up the what we call the homework club, is try to help some newcomers they move from China, and their children. We try to help them to settle down in this country, integrate into this country. That's another project, the new project for us. Yeah.
Okay. So are most of your users older?
As you can imagine, if they are not retired, they can't, come to the center to join the activity during daytime. But we also got some young one if they are, they are interested to do the Tai Chi. Yeah.
Okay. And what is this centre's relationship like with other community centres in London?
You mean?
So what's your relationship like, for example, with London Chinese Community Centre?
Okay.
Or Haringey or Camden?
I think I will refer, depends the needs. Something like the information and advice center. If there are needs, they want to ask about something like the policy or anything, that our center can provide that kind of service. Then I will refer them to different community center. And something like this, now they do the steady, stable exercise. We joined the joint project as with the Chinese Living Center, is what they call. Yeah.
Healthy living.
Health Living Center. Yeah. This is what we call is we join we share our resources. So we try to, share the resources with other center. But of course, because we're based on Central London, depends where they come from, and depends what we can provide. Yeah.
Do you have any particularly close neighbours?
Not really. I think the Chinese Health Living Center will be up close for us, to us. Yeah.
And do you feel there's any crossover with the services you might provide in other community centres?
Yeah, I think like the Chinese Community Center, they also provide lunch. They also provide Tai Chi. They also provide language classes. That's why we try to explore some more new services. Yeah, I'm not to compare but what we know is some elderly they our members, they go to different community centers. So of course, something we can provide, then they can go to the others and they got something. But what we think is sometimes some service is overlapped. So we want to explore something to serve more people, Yeah.
Do you think there's any benefit to working more closely with other community centres?
If we can share the resources, then it's, for the people who come to any centres, I think they are benefit. Is it? Yeah. But sometimes it's a bit hard. What I feel is a bit hard. Yeah.
I'm just going to go on to talk about your own personal experiences now. Could you describe a typical day? A typical day in your work?
You mean something I can remember or something?
Just in, like, for example, a normal 9 to 5 that you would have.
Just like I brought them to go to the outings. So I think a bit typical is for me, sometimes you brought something like usually I organize some day trips for them. So it's sometimes because I'm the only one full-time staff. So when you brought 40 people, more than 40 people, you work whole day so long and so hard, a bit lots of pressure, because you have to care about the safety and whether they interested about the trips or not. Yeah, for me it's a bit hard.
So how many hours do you work?
Officially is 35 hours, but usually you can't. Yeah. I suppose finish work at 4, but usually I finish at 5 or 6. Just like yesterday, I only finished at 6. And depends. And when you need to produce the newsletters, and then you have to contribute more work hours. But as charity, you just find you just serve. You do something for the community. Yeah.
What challenges do you face in your job?
Because I'm originally not, not trained social worker. So for me, it would be hard to know what kind of work I can do for them. And also, nowadays, lots of challenges. So I always based on my office, in the center. And then it's not much chance for me to go out, to see the world, to see and to refresh your mind, how to explore more for them, That's, for me, is my challenges. And sometimes you think I'm not, my mother tongue is Cantonese. But nowadays you're based in London. That means in this Western country you have to speak English, and more people come from China, mainland China. So you have to speak Mandarin as well. So lucky I have learned before, but still you have to know their culture, and you have to know what's the needs. Then you can provide the suitable service.
What's the best thing about your job?
You mean for my personally? I meet so many people. I learn from them, their experiences, and quite touching is they treat you as a family member. And some people will share with their burdens, their worries. So I enjoy to work here, not because it's a job, because we all what I find is our members from different countries, or mainly from Hong Kong or from China or from this country, but we all from different places, but we meet here. And for me, I would find it's God's blessing. I know them, and because I only got two children in this country and my husband, so our family only 4 people in this country. So, but when I work here, I found I extend my families. My family.
And what's the worst thing about your job?
What I feel is I work here more than 12 years. And its worst thing is sometimes you don't know what I can produce more. How to serve better. Because what you think 12 years you have regular, become your routine work. So you try to explore how to explore much for them. And this, for me, is not, sometimes I feel sorry to them, what I can do. And sometimes, what's the worst is, some people, they not appreciate what you do, then you will feel a bit upset, and some people they criticize quite negative, then you will feel quite upset. Yeah. But of course, this is not lucky, not so. Happens quite often. Otherwise.
And where does your attitude towards work come from?
You mean the attitude?
Like what guides you in your work?
I think my belief guide me, and what I feel, no matter what kind of job, you use your heart, and people will feel. Yeah, it's my, wherever I work, I will use this kind of spirit, and I think I'm not only work as a worker. I serve because my belief I have to do something to show my God what I have to do. Yeah.
And were you raised as a Christian, or did you become one as you grew up?
I became a Christian in when my age 15. So, and it helps me. I think it motivates me to face the challenges, to be brave. I think my belief helped me a lot.
And is your position very busy, and how does your working life fit in with your personal life?
Lucky I'm not far, because I live not far away. So I don't need to spend lots of time in transportation. I like to plan ahead. So when you work, a bit more efficient. Of course, sometimes you have to spend lots of time. Even you have worked on during weekend. But I think sometimes you have no choice. You have to do it. You have to finish it. Yeah.
And what do you like to do for recreation?
Okay. Usually, I will go with my husband to watch the movie every Thursday. It's a kind of, for us, to keep the relationship close, and also to relax. And I would like to watch the comedy, because I think, for me, I pay. I don't want to. How do you say? You pay that because you want to relax. So that's what I want. And sometimes I play computer games at home. Usually I do something, and then I will 10 minutes or 15 minutes I will play the computer games. It's to relax. I think to refresh your mind. Yeah.
And you mentioned a bit ago that you worked in a factory. Is that in the UK?
In New Zealand.
Oh, in New Zealand.
In New Zealand.
And what kind of work did the factory do?
What we got, because a bit makes the factory, they produce we make clothes, we print, we do some printings on t-shirts, umbrella, any printings, and I don't know any sewing, I don't know, but my job is something like the co-ordinator, is between the workers, they sew and the office. Because some of the workers, they don't speak any English. So we, in between, I as a channel, and I organize, I arrange the orders for the all the stuff, something like how to produce something like the jacket or we need the materials. So I have to count to match. How much materials to order. So I will give the order. So my work is mainly to this kind. Of course, something like the packing. I also do the packing. Yeah.
And were there many Chinese workers there? Or was it
Yeah, quite lots. I think 90% at the time is 90% the workers are Chinese. And the Chinese moved to New Zealand. I think similar the situation to here. They don't speak. Not many people can speak English. So what they can do is work in the our factory. And my boss is the Chinese, so he will employ our Chinese, but our manager is the New Zealander. So we need someone to in between to translate. So it's hard, and for the Chinese, when you move to a new country, it's quite hard. Yeah, I think same as the minorities to move to this country, the similar problems. Yeah.
And was there a sense of any kind of community?
No, I think in New Zealand, we based in Wellington. It's not many. I don't know. At that time, we don't have any community center. But what they call I don't know. They call the club. They call the club. They base. How should they? Because Chinese in China got different province, so they use the province to set up the club. Something like Dongzhen Club or Xiyip Association, something like this. They try to gather those people who come from the same province. So as a social club. Yeah.
And what year did you come to the UK?
2001.
And what were your first impressions of London?
Central London, yes. Similar as Hong Kong. Lots of people, but quite international. And they accept more different minorities with different races, what we can say. Quite mixed in Central London. More space than Hong Kong. Yeah. But in the rural area, it's similar as New Zealand. More space, fresh air, and big houses. Yeah, that's my impression is. So a bit mixed. These two countries, Hong Kong and New Zealand, and England, something like this. Yeah.
And what was the crypt like when you first moved into it? Because it looks like it's quite modern.
Quite modern, yeah. Before, I think you don't have any idea about our before we move out. The renovation. Before it's dark, because based in the crypt, you never know the outside whether rain or got the sunshine. But here now it's a bit modern, and the main theme for this renovation is light. So that's why they have the light well. And even we are in the crypt, some people never know, we are in the crypt. Even they go downstairs and we are the lower crypt, in the lower crypt, but they don't know. Because it's good idea and save energy as well.
And you mentioned that there's like assistance for people who are planning funerals.
Mm-hmm.
Are they organised along sort of Christian, Buddhist, Taoist lines, or?
You mean the funeral? Yes, of course. You invite, and I would tell them, if you ask us to help you, we are Christians, and what we can do is based on our belief. So they don't mind. Even the funeral is based on the Christian base, but they don't mind because what they feel, they appreciate what we help. Yeah.
Do you organise the funeral?
Yeah, because I help my husband. I learn from him, and so I would try to help. we share our experience with them, and if they want to, then anything we can help them, and or we can refer them to any funeral director.
And are there any specifically Chinese funeral services that you know about?
I think that, funeral directors, most of them, I think all up to now, I don't know, 100% yes, are Western people. But when you the funeral service, if they ask the Chinese priest, then sometimes they will request bilingual, Chinese and English. It depends their friends, yeah. But we will show them, we will let them know. Usually the Chinese tradition, a bit Chinese tradition is a bit different from English, Western. So we will show them what's the tradition of Chinese. But they don't need to follow all, it's a bit hard.
Do you mind explaining a little bit about what that tradition is?
How to say, sometimes even the candles, we use the white candles, but for Chinese tradition, we usually like the red color, not the white color, but we will show them in here, we will use the white color, and the cloth, the cloth, over 70, with Chinese tradition, over 70, if the person who passed away is over 70, then you can, anyone any friends, they come to join the service, they can wear any color of clothes. But I think in this country, most of them will wear the black color. I think it's a bit different. But for the family, they can choose. They can choose whether they follow this or follow that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, and also, I don't know, in the I don't know whether the Western country, we usually ask them to have the envelope to follow this country. It's the corns, put the corn and the sweet in the envelope and the tissue. Yeah. We only put one corn. All it should be in odd number. Yeah, for the Chinese, if the funeral means the sad, then a bit sad. So it's odd number, in odd number. Anything we do, put in, should be in odd number. That means 1 or 3, something like this. But if for the wedding, for the happiness, should be in even number. It's the difference.
Okay, that's all the questions I have for you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you. I'm sorry I've disturbed you.